So a lot of my formative assessment comes through my conferring. And so I often use, when I'm having a conference, I'll often have kind of handy like the conferencing checklist.
Okay.
I also like to use we call it the bends in the road, the bump ups here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a nice kind of lens to look at student writing through.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also just keep a rubric right on the back of my clipboard so that when I'm conferring, it's really easy to kind of just refer to it.
Uh-huh.
But then as I'm conferring, then I kind of keep track of what kids have in the way of strengths. And I like to use the kind of conferring log where it's a grid, so you can kind of flip through and see week by week how they're doing. And so I like to keep track of strengths, so then that's also easy when it comes time to report cards and those kind of things. I can see what they're doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
But then also that's a way to start to think about what I want to teach them. So I keep track of their teaching points. And then I've also learned that I've had many large classes where you just can't meet with every kid every week. So I've really spent a lot of time also thinking about how I can maximize conferences through small groups. And so another way that I formatively assess is I'll ask kids to just leave their writing out at the end of the day. And so then I can also kind of look through and I just look for common themes so that I can pull small groups. And that way I can meet with every kid at least once a week, even if it's, I'm meeting 4 at a time,
Right.
talking about dialogue.
Okay. So is this like in alphabetical order or in a seating chart situation?
Yeah, this is just the beginning of the year. They're
Okay.
alphabetized by last name. And then
Okay.
I use the same form for reading and same form for writing.
Okay.
So it's easy. There's no, I don't have to keep track of. I have to keep track of which one it is, but I don't have to keep track of how to do it.
I like this clear clipboards that you can kind of just keep the rubric in front of you too. Yeah, so do you carry all of these things with you
No.
when you're conferring or just out on your desk?
Yeah, so, I actually will have it on my computer usually. And kind of the first thing I'm looking at is the bump ups, the bends in the road.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know that during these days I'm really working on revision, not everyone's doing the same revision strategy each day.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm kind of looking through the lens of revision, how are they revising? It's just easier to on the fly come up with strengths and come up with, what's the next step for this kid.
Mm-hmm. So this is similar to a progression, a learning progression.
Learning progression, yeah.
Cool. Anything else in terms of formative? Do you do any tickets out the door or anything like that?
Yeah, so the kids only leave the door twice a day, but we do a lot with our jot lot. We have a jot lot over there, and then been doing a lot more. I can show you in a minute with a continuum, and so like yesterday, we're working really hard on bumping up our level of dialogue, and so at the end during the share, with their partners, they're sharing their best example of dialogue, and then they can copy it onto a Post-it note, and then they place it where they think it belongs on the continuum. Sometimes we'll have them with a partner, then how can you bump it up one level? Or talk about where do you think it is and why do you think it is? And again, it's important. Formative assessment is not just me formatively assessing where they are, but they also need to formatively assess where they are.
Right, we have that later on our list to talk a little bit more about that too. But so that's one of the things that they do to assess each other and themselves. How often do they leave something on the jot lot?
Oh gosh, there's no regular schedule.
Whenever you want.
Yeah.
Not
And sometimes, and honestly, just having the jot lot posted, it's also really easy to just do it on the fly, even if it wasn't something I had originally planned. Because they always have Post-it notes. They always know how to put it in the jot lot, so I can just quickly say, jot down, and park it in your parking lot. They have that routine set. It's really easy to just do that. Even if I'm noticing something happening that day, like, ooh, I really want to see what's happening with, describing the setting or whatever it is that we're working on.